And joining us on the line right now is legal analyst Joe DiGenova, good friend of this program. Good morning to you, Joe.
Good morning.
The lead on Drudge this morning, and there's a big New York Times article about it, has to do with a book that's been written by a guy named Peter Schweitzer over at the Hoover Institution. Mm-hmm. And it has to do with whether or not foreign entities made payments to the Clinton Foundation in order to receive favors from then Secretary of State Clinton or her State Department in return. Pretty interesting stuff there, and one can imagine that apparently the author has cut deals with with all three of the New York Times, Washington Post, and Fox News to do and help them with follow-up stories on these issues. Is this going to be a thing?
Yes. We have been talking about this on your show for quite some time, and the Clinton Foundation is, in fact, nothing more than a money laundering scheme while she was Secretary of State. This is so outrageous and so in need of a special counsel that Loretta Lynch, the incoming Attorney General, if she ever hopes to have any credibility whatsoever while being Attorney General, has to appoint a special counsel to investigate whether or not, during Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State, the foundation was used purposely and willfully to direct money to the foundation while she did favors for companies and countries. It is now so apparent that this violates every conceivable ethics regulation that you can think of in the federal government, that if nothing is done, then I don't know how you enforce ethics and criminal bribery laws anymore. I mean, this is so out of bounds what they have done, and you can't even hear a whimper about it in the mainstream media. So Schweitzer's book is going to cause something that they really don't want, and that's scrutiny and questions. Now it's not just the emails and the server. The email and the server has always been about the Clinton Foundation as well as Benghazi. For example, what is a personal email that she permanently deleted? You can bet your bippy it was about the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah. Joe, I got to ask you, this is what always comes up with the Clintons. Whenever anything shady like this, and God knows over 20 years there have been so many of them, the response always seems to be, okay, but was it really against the law? You know, they always seem to just skirt right on the edge there. Mm-hmm. And if you remember right, during the campaign financing scandals of 96, they actually had the hubris to come out there and say, this is why we need campaign finance reform, so we don't have to do all of these tawdry, horrible things.
Right. Well, I don't think there's any question that there is prima facie evidence, there is basic evidence that would warrant a preliminary inquiry by the Justice Department under its ordinary investigative standards. The only thing that is preventing that right now is politics and the fact that it involves the Clintons. And nobody wants to pull the trigger. Not the FBI director, not the Department of Justice, with no Attorney General in place who wants to do anything serious. This is very serious stuff, and it's not going to go away, just like Benghazi is not going to go away.
I tell you what's going to happen next. We're going to see Bill Clinton appear somewhere, and he's going to wag his finger at the camera and talk to, we were trying to help people. Yeah. We were just trying to help poor, unfortunate people.
Bill can do whatever he wants, and he's well-liked and people love him, but the fact is she's now running for president, and she's going to be accountable. This is going to be a test of the American media. I'm fascinated that the New York Times has run this story. And that they're picking up on it. This is serious stuff, guys. They talk about the case against Menendez. That's nothing compared to what the Clinton Foundation did. Nothing. The Menendez case is peanuts compared to the bribery that went on with Secretary Clinton. And I tell you right now, what went on with her and the foundation was pure and simple bribery. Absolute bribery.
Do they need to find some sort of smoking gun? Do they have to find a specific quid pro quo for it to be against the law?
Yes, sure. Ultimately, if you're going to bring a charge, you have to do that. But there is enough evidence on the record now to warrant a full-scale investigation.
Wow.
So, Joe, why you just said nobody wants to touch it because of politics. I mean, there was a time when Republicans would actually go after Democrats if they caught them doing things like this, not despite politics, because of politics, and it was a good thing. And God knows Democrats would go after Republicans, so why won't Republicans touch this?
We shall see. Now that the book is out and that there are very detailed allegations about specific transactions, specific companies, and specific countries, there is every reason to believe that it may very well be the House of Representatives. The Senate seems to have no taste whatsoever for investigation. They seem to be in the clouds somewhere. I don't quite understand what's going on in the Senate. The House probably will pick it up. This is actually something that the Senate should do.
Well, now speaking of the Senate, I mean, it appears from what I read that they're going to take a vote on the next Attorney General, the nominee, Loretta Lynch, over the next coming 2 to 3 days.
Right.
And we have never gotten a straight answer from her about what she will do regarding an investigation into the emails that were deleted off Hillary Clinton's server. And now we got this issue of whether or not, the special favors were done at the State Department in exchange for contributions to the Clinton Foundation. Don't we need to hold her accountable and bring her in and ask these questions?
Well, the Senate's not going to do that. They've already held her confirmation hearing. She's been voted out of committee narrowly. She probably will be confirmed, although it will be a close vote. The bottom line is this. Now that all of this has piled up, and Loretta Lynch has done what any nominee would do, she has refused to make commitments about specific investigations. Everybody does that.
Right.
So there's nothing unusual about that. What's unusual about her now is she's actually been confirmed as United States Attorney for Brooklyn, New York, twice. She has a very good reputation as a seasoned prosecutor, non-political. Doesn't mean she's not a Democrat, but she's not a hack. She may find herself in the position where she just doesn't want to sacrifice her reputation on the Hillary Clinton altar. And the best way to do that is to palm it off on a special counsel. Just give it to somebody. There's so much evidence here of wrongdoing, from the destruction of the emails in clear violation of federal law, while congressional subpoenas and requests were outstanding. Those were obstructions of a congressional investigation. And then this other thing with the Clinton Foundation, where the donations have come in from companies and countries. This is appalling. And if she doesn't do something about it, it's going to be embarrassing for her, because then every time she comes up to Capitol Hill, these questions will be asked. And at that point, then it becomes a budget question. If you're not going to appoint a special counsel, then you don't need this contingency fund with $75 million in it. We'll just get rid of that for you.
But, Joe, can you imagine Hillary Clinton in the midst of a campaign having the cloud of a special prosecutor over her? I mean, have we had anything like that
It's going
before?
to be extremely difficult for the attorney, the new Attorney General, to do that. But this has gotten to a point of critical mass of allegations and facts. You asked earlier, how do we get the facts? The facts are there already. The actual statements from Hillary Clinton and her lawyer that they purposely destroyed, permanently deleted emails. The facts are on the record about the donations to the foundation. This is not a complex issue. This is now at a point where a preliminary investigation by the FBI and the Justice Department has to occur.
Thank you, Joe DiGenova.
I'll have to leave it right there, Joe.